Hi there, welcome to Cocktail Mode, the podcast where me, Andy, and my good mate Dave pick a retro game and try and pair it with a couple of cocktails. Today we are talking about the game that basically created the rhythm action genre, the brilliantly bonkers PaRappa the Rapper, and sequels, pseudo-sequels, spin-offs, and everything that came after it, because basically nothing came before it. Kick, punch, it's all in the mind. Let's just get that out of the way, shall we?
I'm pretty sure we'll come back to that. If somebody says to you, PaRappa the Rapper, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? It is kick, punch. It's all in the mind, isn't it?
It is. Unless you happen to have got to the end, in which case you might go, I gotta believe.
Well, I gotta believe goes all the way through it, but kick, punch, it's all in the mind. For me, anytime anybody ever says kick, punch in anything, I have to follow it up with it's all in the mind. Like if you're going through playing a game and there's a tutorial, and it's like press this button to kick, then this button to punch. I just have to sit there and go, it's all in the mind.
All in the mind.
Do you know what's really, really funny about PaRappa the Rapper? I was thinking about this earlier today. I genuinely believe that me and you spent more time playing the first level that was released as a demo on a PlayStation magazine than either of us have ever played the rest of the entire game.
Well, I know because you messaged me that you finished it and it took you not very long.
Just over an hour.
And it turns out when I got round to playing it, I also finished it. And it didn't take me very long either. But it is one of those games where there are levels of finishing it. You didn't get a cool rating all the way through, did you?
You can't on your first playthrough.
Can you not?
No, cool isn't unlocked until you've already finished it once.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I had to look it up. So I had a quick look around and it said, yeah, the cool mode is enabled once you've finished the game.
Did you manage to unlock it for any level?
No.
No.
Because I already played it through and finished it and thought, I'm not playing that again. As much as I love it, and I do love it, I genuinely love this game. It's just as great now as it was then.
Yes.
I don't want to play it much. Because it is painful.
I mean, yeah, we'll come back to painful in a bit. But I nearly unlocked cool on the very first level. Because you basically do it by freestyling. So
yes.
As long as you hit the actual commands, I think then you can just go nuts. And if you're generally in tune or in time with the music, you get points that can take you up to cool. And I had cool flashing, but I never got it to light up.
I think that's what you get. I think you get it to cool. You get it to flash cool, but you can't actually stop it on cool. On your first playthrough.
Oh, okay.
So you can see that it's a thing you can do.
Yeah.
But you can't actually lock it in.
All right, cool.
I could be wrong. I could have misunderstood the video that I watched.
As soon as you get cool, the level ends to all reasonable intents, and then you can just basically freestyle and go nuts until the end of the level. All the commands that you're supposed to do are no longer given to you. You can just do what you want until the end of the level. You still seem to score points from what I could make out. It's still the level still goes up and down. You know what? I know one character's name other than PaRappa the Rapper. So, enemy character's name, I should say.
Is it Joe Chin?
It's not.
How could you forget Joe Chin?
Joe Chin's
He's the dog who's the rival for Sonny Funny's heart. Did you not do the fucking homework?
I played through the game. I do admit that I did skip a lot of the cutscenes because I found the voice acting insufferable.
It is painful to listen to. The cutscenes in particular are a very, very low point of the game.
Yes.
But they also have a lot of charm about them.
The art style is fantastic. It's lovely and all that. But yeah, there's a lot going for it in terms of the visual style. And what it's not is level 2 of Jamalami.
See, I didn't play Jamalami, so I have nothing to say about it. I know of it, and that's it.
Well, this can be the beginning and the end of it then. So it's basically a pseudo sequel. It came out before PaRappa the Rapper 2. Same team. From what I can tell from looking at the credits of some of these games, the guy credited with designing PaRappa the Rapper and, to all intents and purposes, inventing the rhythm action game as we know it is Masaya Matsuura. He seems to be sort of less involved in the later games, both PaRappa the Rapper 2 and Jamalami. But level 2 of Jamalami is about trying to get babies to sleep. So it features both the noise of babies crying and the voice acting of, I think, like a nurse or something, that is one of the most horrendous things to listen to I've ever heard in my entire life. I have never got past level 2 of Jamalami for that reason. I cannot tolerate it. It's Baby Mario and Yoshi's Island again. I cannot tolerate it enough to get good enough so that I don't have to put up with it. It's horrendous, and it's a shame because Jamalami is, every bit as charming and cool as PaRappa the Rapper is, because it's a follow-up game. It is basically a sequel. Level 2, the second level, unbearable. Never seen anything more of it. So sadly, that is the beginning and the end of everything we have to say about Jamalami.
Well, there is one more thing to say. She appears as a character in PaRappa the Rapper 2.
I haven't played PaRappa the Rapper 2.
Not playable. She's one of the characters involved in the story.
Oh, okay, cool. Like Sunny Funny.
Yeah.
And Katie Cat.
One of those background characters that have hilarious adventures that will leave you begging for a PaRappa the Rapper anime series.
Yeah.
That did come out.
Did it?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't managed to find it, but I can't imagine it's good.
Wow.
I stand to be corrected on that. If anybody out there has seen the PaRappa the Rapper anime series, please comment. Tell us if it's shit or not.
Should probably give a shout out to Rodney Greenblatt, who is the guy whose visual style is all over these games, and it is, I think probably the most memorable thing about it.
I genuinely think it's the reason it's successful. I think if they tried to do something similar with bad polygon early PlayStation levels of characters, I don't think it would have half the charm. I don't think most people would still be interested in it. I could be wrong, but I genuinely think 90% of the charm of the game is down to the character designs.
But it's of the era, isn't it? 1996, there was a lot of this sort of, I overused the word anarchic in the last episode we recorded, but it is that kind of, that stuff like Rocko's Modern Life and Beavis and Butthead and all this sort of thing.
The Nickelodeon cartoons of the 90s. Yeah, I know what you mean.
All down that sort of rabbit hole of stuff. It very much tied into that. The 90s mid to, I guess, really the mid 90s, not really the early or the late, were very much about that sort of thing. It was very prevalent, and I think PaRappa the Rapper tied into that, and with its just joyousness, it's just absolute have a great time playing this game attitude that it's got. It was just perfect. It was one of those games as well, much like I played the demo a lot, as you just mentioned. We played the demo. You're probably right. Probably played that demo longer than it took me to complete the game. That's a really good shout.
Because you learned how to play the game by playing that demo for 4 fucking hours. Then finish the game in an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a really good shout, actually. And it's one of those things. Tomb Raider, played the demo to death. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, played the demo to death. Yeah, it's just these games.
Driver.
Yes, absolutely. The hours I put into the Driver demo, absolutely crazy. And I do think that if PaRappa the Rapper hadn't been on the front of PlayStation magazine, I doubt it would have been, even with everything else I had going for it. I don't think it would be as big as it was.
Well, not only that, I don't think it's a game I would have ever have played. If I hadn't have had access to the demo for this game, I would never have played it.
That's true of a lot of people. It's kind of in my wheelhouse. I love this sort of thing, so I might have done.
Well, no, you love this thing now.
Yeah.
It didn't exist then.
No.
This was the first of its kind.
Yeah, absolutely.
That demo was literally everyone in the world's introduction to the concept of rhythm action games.
Yeah. No, it was a really good shout. And here's something else. I love it. I think it's great. It's a great piece of nostalgia. It's a great piece of design. It is not a great rhythm action game.
Oh no, God, no, it's terrible. It's got a lot wrong with it. But I would not have a bad word said against it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. It's one of those things that if it wasn't first, I don't think it would be considered as great as it is, as much as I do love the art style and all that sort of thing. It is clearly memorable for being first, not for being great. And it's true of many things. I mean, it's Fritz Lang's Metropolis of video games.
Oh, yeah. That's a great film.
It's it's not.
No, it is great.
If it was made 20 years after it was, it wouldn't be considered great. it's impossible to separate its importance and the nostalgia and all that from the game, which I hate because I love to separate the nostalgia and say games are brilliant. I think if you separate the nostalgia and the importance of it being first from PaRappa the Rapper, what you're left with is a great looking terrible game.
Yeah. Definitely.
It doesn't even particularly work well as a rhythm action game. After PaRappa the Rapper in 1996, we would have been playing it in 1997. What was the next rhythm action game you remember playing or seeing or hearing about?
I think it must have been Buster Groove.
Yes.
That's the only one I can think of that I actually played. Dance Dance Revolution came out in 98 in Japan, 99 in America and Europe.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a thing yet. So I'm pretty sure it was Buster Groove, and then possibly Jamalami. I do remember playing Jamalami at some point, or at least a demo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember seeing Dance Dance Revolution being played at ECTS. Used to be a trade-only computer show that you could only get into if you worked in the industry, and you used to know somebody who worked at Sony, so a few of us would go every year. And they had, the year it launched, they had some Japanese guys that they brought over to basically play it, to show you how it can be played.
Yeah.
Rather than the fucking fat, drunk European people just
Can
falling
I just
over.
Interrupt you and ask you to tell our listeners what the name was on your pass when you went to ECTS?
The first year I went, my name was Fernando Dorigo.
I will never forget Fernando Dorigo.
Yeah.
One of those things that's for some reason etched in my mind, taking up really valuable real estate. Every time I'm shit at my job, it's Fernando Dorigo's fault.
Like I say, you couldn't get into this if you didn't work in the computer industry, effectively. So it's kind of a closed thing. They did eventually change it and made it a public thing that you could go to and buy tickets for. But back in those days, it was literally just, let's have a few free drinks and look at the latest game by some gobshite little company you've never heard of.
Like Core.
Yeah, that turns out to be something massive a few years later.
I have a vivid memory of us being in the Trocadero Centre and seeing a couple of people. No idea what the year was, no idea what the timing was. This could have been, 2007 for all I know. But playing, they had a couple of Dance Dance Revolutions, some version or other set up. And we walked by, and there were two people playing it like crazy, on one of these people who play it at the release level. There were two of them playing it, having a battle, and another guy stood alongside practicing the moves to the music on the floor next to them as they were playing it. And it's just one of those things where you just, they're unbelievable. The amount of, I mean, it's a skill, and but the effort and time just to be good at that game. I mean, and this is before the days of YouTube. They weren't doing it for any particular audience. They weren't,
No, they were doing it as a live performance.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I've really, really lament the loss of arcades, is that you used to get good at a game and you'd play it and you would get a crowd of people around you to see somebody play the game well, because no one else knew how. Yeah. And there's nothing better. You're playing something, you think, yeah, I'm doing all right. And you turn around, oh, there's a few people watching. Yeah. Oh, shit, I lost. But no, these guys do it. I mean, it's a big, big part of, I'm going to get it in early, Taiko Drum Master. Because that's getting covered. There's an arcade culture within Japan of picking a game, getting good at it, and then effectively going and practicing and getting better and better and better at it. Yeah. And then it becomes a performance. It effectively becomes like a street art performance where you get crowds of people around you. And it's fucking great. I love that kind of thing. I really miss that kind of thing.
No, I'm with you. It only happened to me personally once, but I've been part of those crowds. I think I mentioned the Street Fighter episode, playing one of the Street Fighter EX games in New Zealand, and turned around and there was a crowd of people. And it's just, genuinely, it might sound sad to people. I was only 24, 25 at the time or something. One of the happiest memories I've got. It's just that whole sequence of events, walking up to that game. That was a version of EX I hadn't played. It was EX3. I'd only played EX2. And it was, the hardware was set to 3 rounds to win. and it went down to the last round, and I would have won if I'd played that game before. Because you link super moves together. In EX2, you only can link 2 together. In EX3, you can link 3 together, and I didn't know how, so I lost. So I could have turned around, and there wasn't a rapturous applause or anything. I turned around, there was a group of people who just dissipated when we stopped playing. There's no celebration, there's no glory. It would still have been better to be the winner than the loser. But yeah, it is, and it is like certainly in the UK almost completely gone now.
It's vanished. It's completely disappeared.
Yeah.
There are attempts to bring it back. There's a couple of places. There's one I know in Nottingham that's a really good attempt to remake the arcades. And there's a couple that have popped up in bigger cities around the country. I think there's definitely one in London, probably 3 or 4 that I haven't heard of.
Yeah, I think the barcade scene kind of owns it mostly at the minute, which is the exact opposite. It's just basically drink beer, be bad at games, which is great, although I did thrash a small child at Time Crisis 2 last time I was in one of those. But I think that the whole Dance Revolution thing kind of took over rhythm action games for a long time in the mainstream, because there's dozens and dozens of them. I've got no experience of them at all personally, but I know there's lots of them, and it was huge, and they were pretty mainstream, and you could buy the mats for your PlayStation 2 and play them at home, couldn't you, and all that sort of gubbins.
Yeah, that was the problem. If it had only existed as an arcade thing, it was the kind of thing that was getting people to go to arcades.
Yeah.
This is literally the late 90s. This is when arcades died.
Yes.
Partly because of the rise of the good home consoles that you could play arcade perfect games at home. Why the hell would you go to an arcade?
Exactly.
If you can play the games at home, pay 40 quid, you've got it for as long as you want, play it for as long as you want. And why would you bother going to an arcade to play the games anymore? This kind of thing came out, and it made people go to the arcades because it didn't exist on home systems. As soon as you started to get PlayStation versions of things like this, that was it. The signal of the end.
Yes.
And that was it. From that moment on, it was dead.
No, I think you're entirely right, and it's kind of a what they call it, like attached from both sides. What that means is you can play arcade games at home, and what it also means is the arcade games themselves get more gimmicky to try and be something that you can't play at home, and are less good, because gimmicky isn't always bad, but the arcade games basically got less good because they had to try and get people into the arcade somehow. I mean, driving games lasted a little bit longer than everything else, but even then, not much. It's a shame, but it's a long time ago now.
Yeah, 25-ish years.
Yeah,
roughly.
I always think the irony of the Dreamcast basically being the thing that started the beginning of the end of the arcades was the console that was basically all about recreating the arcades. So yeah, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. But anyway, none of this is about PaRappa the Rapper. Sorry, so yeah, no, I asked you. So you said Dance Revolution was the next one you think you're aware of.
Certainly in terms of timeline, there's definitely PaRappa the Rapper, Bust a Groove, and then I think Dance Revolution, and I think I kind of stopped caring at that moment. Genuinely, it was a sort of subgenre I'd looked at. Oh, obviously Space Channel 5, which I've never been a big fan of. I thought it was about as playable as PaRappa the Rapper.
I mean, you might be right. Just to put this in a time frame, this is 3 years. So yeah. I mean, PaRappa the Rapper came out in Japan in 1996. Space Channel 5 came out in 1999. Bust a Groove 1998. I can't tell you about Dance Revolution. I've got no idea.
98 in Japan, 99 in Europe and America.
So yeah, in 3 years, you've kind of got the invention of a genre, and that genre starting to feel a bit stale. I think because as much as, very fond memories of PaRappa the Rapper, absolutely adore Bust a Groove. Space Channel 5, I love it. I love so much about it. Very, very difficult to enjoy as a rhythm action game. Something just feels off about the timing of Space Channel 5. It just doesn't seem like it's working properly.
I've never got it. I've never clicked with it at all.
It is the same system as PaRappa the Rapper. It's that
it doesn't work.
Yeah, it just seems off. Apparently, I remember reading a long, long time ago that as you get things wrong, it gets more and more out of sync.
Okay.
So basically, it's not a deliberate thing. It's not punishment for being bad at the game. It's like something about either the noise or the animation of what she does when she gets something wrong just moves the game a little bit out of sync and makes it even harder than it was before.
It's probably just milliseconds.
Yeah.
like an animation to like a data trigger. They're off by like a tiny amount.
Base Channel 5, we're bouncing around a bit all over the place, but Ulala as a character is one of my favourite characters in all of video games.
She is great.
In large part down to the English language voice actress, who I've no idea what she was, but she's fantastic. She's got so much...
It's Tim Curry. He's that versatile an actor. It's Tim Curry.
For those without the benefit of video, Dave did that with a completely straight face. But I just think she's fantastic. She brings so much to the game. But the visual style of that, again, much like PaRappa, is fantastic. One of the best walks in video games as well. Just fantastic.
That's not a walk. That's a strut.
Yeah, just magnificent strutting from start to finish. We don't talk about Space Channel 5 Part 2 because it's got Michael Jackson in it.
Has it really?
Actual Michael Jackson, yeah. I don't actually know whether it's like a Simpsons scenario where they got somebody to voice act Michael Jackson and Michael Jackson said that was okay, or whether it was actually him. I really don't know. But he's in it as a character, Space Michael.
Space Michael.
Yeah. So, yeah, as I was sort of saying, in that brief window from the mid-90s to the turn of the century, I had the PlayStation 2 as soon as the Dreamcast died, really. And the idea of picking up PaRappa the Rapper 2 never crossed my mind.
No, I'd never played it until 4 days ago.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of in terms, it's the flash, isn't it, of something new and it being played out quite quickly. But in the mainstream, in the whole thing, they never went away. There was never a point. Obviously, they hit peak with Rock Band and Guitar Hero.
Are you talking peak popularity or peak quality?
Oh, fuck, popularity. Peak quality is Guitar Hero, man.
No, peak quality is Taiko no Tatsujin, and you fucking know it. I will literally fight you to the death if you say anything else.
So Taiko Drum Master, to give it its UK name.
American name, never came out here.
It's a drum-based rhythm action game that Dave and I went to a video game show in Leicester. They had an arcade version of it. It was fantastic.
PS2, it wasn't arcade.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good shout. Because, yes, the PS2 version was the American release, wasn't it?
It's the only one. That's the only time it's ever come out. Well, until recent.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had a blast playing that. I went home and on my hacked Wii, because everybody in the world had a hacked Wii, downloaded 3 or 4 different versions of the Japanese game for the Wii, imported a couple of drums. Dave came down to my house, and for an entire long weekend, 3 solid days, we did nothing but eat crisps, drink beer, and play Taiko Drum Master. True or false?
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
We would have been in our 30s. This is not a couple of teenagers.
Yes, this is like 15 years ago.
It was magnificent.
It was great. And then I bought a PS2 debug console off of eBay from America and bought every single PS2 version of the game. And I ended up with 3 drums because I got various ones from various sources. And yeah, they're just glorious. They are the best rhythm action games ever made by far. The retro computer games thing that we went to where we first found this game.
Yeah.
I got to know the guy quite well and ended up helping with his events and helping out with other similar events in Leicester. And I used to take my drum set with the PS2 console and the games, set it up and let people play it. And it was never not in use.
Yeah.
From the second anybody saw it, they're like, I want to play that. That looks amazing. Because no one had ever played it. A lot of people had probably played Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Yeah. But they'd never seen that, and they'd never seen how much fun that was. Because it is fun.
Oh,
I think
it's
more
brilliant.
than any of the other of the rhythm action games, Taiko Drum Master is so much fun.
Yeah.
It's big, it's cartoony, it looks like a kid's game, but it definitely isn't. Much like PaRappa the Rapper.
Yeah.
PaRappa the Rapper, for all intents and purposes, looks like a child's game. It literally has cartoon characters that would not be out of place on Sesame Street. But it's bastard hard, and no child is ever going to figure out those controls.
No. Which, in case you haven't played Taiko Drum Master, the controller is basically, it looks like a small, like the top of a tom-tom. And I think Donkey Konga may have a similar play. I've never actually played Donkey Konga, and it's not expensive. I really should pick it up.
That's bongo drums, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it works in the same way, because Taiko Drum Master, you have two inputs. You hit the middle of the drum, you hit the edge of the drum. That's it.
Yeah.
So so the glorious simplicity of this. And one thing I've never known, are the songs in Taiko Drum Master, are they licensed or are they original?
They are re-performed, re-recorded versions.
Okay.
Some of them it doesn't really matter. I mean,
No.
the version of My Sharona that's on there might actually be the original because it's very, very, very close. Others are such bad versions of the original song that you sit there and think, what the fuck is this shit? There's a version of I think it's I'm a Believer is on there, and it's awful. It's truly bad.
Wow. So yeah, as I think we've mentioned, all the Wii versions of Taiko Drum Master are Japanese. So I own all the songs are Japanese. I think there's not English language songs in the Japanese versions, are there?
No, there are. Certainly not in the versions I've played.
Yeah.
There might be later because there is one that came out a couple of years ago on the Xbox.
Yes, it had a bit of a resurgence, and it because it's on the Switch and things.
Yeah, the version that came out on Game Pass was hated.
Really?
It wouldn't work.
No. That would cause hate.
There was some horrible thing on launch day where you couldn't sign in to your account to play it.
Oh.
So it'd let you download it, it'd let you install it, but you couldn't then log in. There was some weird server thing.
Yeah.
And I think it put off like 90% of the people that might have ever played it.
Yeah.
There is an actual Xbox and presumably PC as well, recent drum kit you can get.
Oh, right.
I'm tempted to buy because if that works in the way I think it will, i.e. with emulators,
yeah,
I could play all the PS2 versions that I've already physically got.
Yeah.
With no lag or anything and absolutely fine. All of the Wii versions. And I'd be a very, very happy man for like a week. Because as much as I love them, I've played them enough that I don't play them for long. When I do get the drums out and set it up and that, usually for other people to play more often than not, it's a very short-lived thing. Like I'll try a couple of songs. Like I've got very specific songs that I like to play, and I find them, which takes going through every Japanese version of the game until I find the right disc that's got it on. But it's one of the songs that we found on the Wii version. It's a song called Linda Linda by a Japanese punk band.
Yeah.
The Blue Hearts.
Okay.
And I don't know if you remember them, but there's the punk covers super band called Me First and the Gimme Gimmes.
I do remember them, yeah.
They did an album called Me First and the Gimme Gimmes Sing Songs in Japanese or something. I can't remember the title of it off the top of my head. And they did a version of Linda Linda.
Oh,
and it's
amazing.
Brilliant.
If you haven't heard of Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, go check out their cover version of Blowing in the Wind, and then you'll want to listen to everything else they've ever done. It's as simple as that. It really is. But yeah, I don't know. Would you say Blue? What were they called?
The Blue Hearts.
Blue Hearts. Didn't know them. I knew that song because that was the one that we played a lot of. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
Yeah. This is your pick. So the entire Taiko Drum Master series, you believe, is Dave's pick for the greatest rhythm action games that exist.
Yes. Oh, I do. Definitely. Without a shadow of a doubt. It's more fun because a lot of these games are very po-faced. They're very like serious. Like, have you ever played Guitar Hero to any amount?
Yeah, I think Rock Band is even more serious than Guitar Hero.
It's not fun.
No, well, if ever there was an opinion, that's definitely an opinion because the amount of fucking copies these games sold were insane. They were huge. My eldest nephew was ridiculously into these games, and there are basically PC versions of these games. I forget what they're called. It's got its own name, but basically, every song that you could ever imagine, someone's created a Guitar Hero track for, and some of them are mind-boggling.
Is that Rocksmith?
No, Rocksmith was another full-featured game, I think the Xbox. But yeah, it's basically a PC thing, but you use the console controllers.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, my eldest nephew was crazy into it for a while, and it was just insane. It was like that episode of South Park. Oh, smoke on the water.
I'd forgotten about that. The South Park episode with Guitar Hero is fucking brilliant.
Genuinely is. Genuinely hilarious. I don't know how funny it would be now that kind of thing has gone away and Guitar Hero isn't really relevant anymore. But at the time, it was properly like brilliant in all the ways. When South Park is brilliant, it was brilliant. Really, really good. I mean, the other thing I did want to, when we were talking about Dance Dance Revolution, I forgot to give Scott Pilgrim versus the World a shout out, because there's a very, very nice references to Dance Dance Revolution, not by name exactly, obviously, but by in spirit in Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which was, I guess, when Scott Pilgrim versus the World came out, it was retro. Those games were retro at that point. It's in some people's definition of retro, at least, not ours. I still have a couple of Guitar Hero controllers inside my footstools in the living room, because in the footstool in my living room is a copy of Guitar Hero 3, I think, and both of the controllers that I own for that game, because Gemma always threatens to get it out and play it, and I always am incredibly disinterested.
I played it for the first time ever round a friend's house about 15 years ago. And they were quite geeky people, and they'd played it and sort of put it to one side like a lot of people had within a year or two. And I picked it up for the first time ever, and they were like, "Oh yeah, and this is how you play it." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough." I put whatever song it was and played longer, and got like a 95% accuracy rate at the end of it. And they're like, if you'd have played this for the first time ever when everybody else was playing it for the first time ever, you would have been a god. That would have been the most amazing thing that anyone has ever seen. I was like, yeah, but I've played lots of games like this and I understand how they work. So if I'd been learning it from scratch, I probably wouldn't have been anywhere near this good.
Yeah.
But no, I've played a little bit of one of them. I think it was Rock Band, and a lot of the enjoyment of it is whether or not you actually like or know the song that you're playing. If you pick a song you don't know, you don't stand a chance. So
this is something that I wanted to talk about these games in general, and why I was asking about Taiko Drum Master and licensed tracks and things like that. I tend to prefer my rhythm action games to not have licensed music. I prefer either, because for all we know, every single song in Taiko Drum Master, those Japanese versions, might have been licensed or might not have been. We would never heard of them before or since, so it didn't really matter. But when I know the songs and that, I don't enjoy them as much. So I think that's part of the reason I don't enjoy Guitar Hero and that sort of thing. I much prefer original music.
Fair enough.
I briefly mentioned Guitar Hero, man. All original music, all absolutely brilliant. And, the very, very opposite of Po-Faced, as you said. It's not trying to be a music simulator in any way, shape or form. Very much video games. So yeah, but it's just me. I mean, so many people. I was playing. The reason I was slightly late to start recording, I was playing a game called Elite Beat Agents on the DS, which I've owned for a long, long time, and it's a good game. But all the music is sampled, and I don't know why, but I just don't like them as much. I like one of the songs in Elite Beat Agents is David Bowie's Let's Dance, which is a fantastic song.
Yeah, good song.
Not his best, but still a great song. But I didn't enjoy playing a level to it. Even though I know every beat and I got a really high score because I know the song really well, I just don't enjoy it as much as hearing something completely new developed for a game to achieve what that game is trying to do. I just find that it appeals to me more. And it's a bit of an odd one, really, isn't it?
That is strange, because I think a lot of the enjoyment I've got from these games is knowing the song.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of the opposite. I would rather have a song I know than one I don't. I suppose you've got the element of learning it. You could play it over and over and over again
Yeah.
but I don't necessarily want to. I feel like those kind of games lend themselves well to picking up the controller, the drumstick, the guitar, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and sitting there and thinking, oh, yeah, I know this song. All I need to learn is the key input the game is looking for.
Yeah.
And I can go along with that, and I'll have fun because I know the song. Once I've got what it wants me to do, I'll kind of fill in the gaps. A lot of the Taiko games have anime soundtrack songs, which I've never heard before. I don't know where they're going to go, like in terms of like rhythm and speed and beat and whatever. All I'm doing is following the inputs on the screen.
Yeah.
I've actually stopped listening to the song. I don't care what the song does. I'm only looking at that input that needs to be hit. And that's not so fun as knowing the song and then learning the pattern of input that you need to do. For me, that's a personal thing.
Well, again, yeah, it's all personal, isn't it? I think the thing with coming back to the Guitar Hero games, I don't know, it sounds like you're the same as me. There is a thing with that, whereas I don't want to have to play along to a song I don't like. So I would always pick a song I knew because I knew I liked. I first played Guitar Hero at my brother's house, and there was a Beastie Boys song on it, and I did go to it every time.
Is it Sabotage?
I think it probably was, yeah.
Yeah, look up Dara O'Brien, Guitar Hero. It's a very good skit.
Really annoyed my brother and everyone else who was playing with, because, you know, I basically refused to embrace the whole wish fulfillment side of Guitar Hero, and just approached it like a video game. I laid the guitar on my lap, right, and had the fret thing in one hand because I knew that was what I hit and sort of held it between two fingers, and then my other hand was for the keys, and just smashed it. And it's just like, they were like, this is no fun. And well, this game is no fun. Have you not played PaRappa the Rapper? This is shit compared to that. I mean,
that's
it's not,
the thing.
You know?
You're playing the game as a game.
Yeah.
They're playing the game as a let's have fun and pretend we're in a band.
Yeah.
Like a piss poor role playing game of some description.
Yeah. As we say at the end of every episode, for you and me and people who've been playing games as long as we have, gaming is in our blood. It's something we pick up second nature. Were you playing PaRappa the Rapper with a PlayStation controller?
What, recently?
Yes.
No.
Did you even think twice about which button was which?
No, because I don't look at the controller. I know that the bottom one is cross. The one to the left is square, the one at the top is triangle, and the one on the right is circle. Any other button prompt doesn't even compute in my head. My thumb is over those buttons, so I don't see what those buttons say. Because for me, it is the PlayStation layout.
Oh, you've actually led me into the brilliant segue there, Dave. A problem with rhythm action games on the DS is that you're by nature, because you're tapping a screen to do stuff, a lot of the time your finger or the stylus is over part of the screen. So there are some brilliant Rhythm Paradise, and that series on the DS is fantastic. They're basically micro games, like, I think I mentioned it on the outro when we talked about it the other day, Bishi Bashi Special in Your Brain, or the WarioWare games to everybody else in the world. They're like that, but for rhythm action games. They're proper micro games, but your stylus is quite often, the amount of times playing Elite Beat Agents earlier today, where my hand and the stylus was in the way. I missed a beat because my hand was in the way, and it's a big, like, it's a thing with the DS where it's 3 or 4 games that are just not ruined. That's a massive overstatement, but it's a genuine issue. The Guitar Hero game for the DS, I've actually got one, had a peripheral attachment with 4 colour buttons on it. So you plugged it in and it attached to the thing, so you held the whole controller in your hand with the screen facing up, and so you basically tap the screen for the fret and press these extra buttons that were the exact replication of 4 of the Guitar Hero buttons on your hand. Worked brilliantly. Basically remade the entire console into something that you held in one hand and played. Very, very clever. It's probably like 90% of the reason I picked it up, because I love it when people do something different like that and just think outside of the box.
Yeah.
And that obviously works fine. There is a 3DS game called Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure that I just want to mention while I'm on the subject of the DS, 2DS, that whole kind of era, which is absolutely brilliant, and I urge anyone to play it. It's kind of got the the vague vibes of a Professor Layton game, but as a rhythm action game. Very, very cool. So yeah, I'm not going to talk in any detail about it. I just wanted to name drop it because it's fantastic. I own 20 different rhythm action games.
Really?
Yeah.
What have you got?
Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure, Elite Beat Agents, Guitar Hero Modern Hits, and Rhythm Paradise are all on the DS. I think Rhythm Thief might be the 3DS. I'm just going to blitz through this. I got Guitar Hero 3, an actual copy on the Wii. Both Buster Groove games. I own Jamalami. I had to discover how much I didn't like it. But, I mean, Space Channel 5, Guitar Man I'm going to come back to later because it is my choice for the greatest rhythm action game ever made. I own Vib Ribbon.
Oh, I remember Vib Ribbon. Is it all black and white?
Yeah, very sketchy art style.
Yeah.
All very, stylized. You're basically a frog-ish character walking along a 2D line in 3D space. About 150 quid worth of game these days, it turns out.
Is it really?
Yeah. But yes, that's a very, very cool game. Basically, you're this very scrappily, sketchily illustrated frog character walking along a single line, and shapes come towards you, and you have to press buttons and button combinations to bypass them in rhythm action style. The original music in it, which I assume is original music because it's all Japanese, so it might be licensed, but I would never know in a million years. But it's fantastic and suits the game brilliantly. But it's sort of its selling point, its key sort of promo thing was that it could all run the entire game because of this simple and the way the animation was created with maths, basically. That shows how technical I am. Could all run out of the onboard memory of the console. So you could take the disc out, put in any music CD, and it would create a level based on that music, which you could then play.
Algorithm based.
Yes.
Based on the sound wave of the file. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a few games have done that. Some better than others.
Yeah. To my memory, it works in Vib Ribbon. Vib Ribbon was 1998, I think, or possibly 99.
That's really early for that kind of tech. That's really impressive. Yes,
it is, and it's just by the PaRappa the Rapper guy as well. It's by him, so it's a very, very cool game. It's probably not worth 150 quid of your money, especially when you can emulate it for free. But it's definitely worth playing because it's really interesting. It's very idiosyncratic. There really is nothing else like it. There are 2 sequels on the PlayStation 2. I've played neither of them, because I keep forgetting that I've got a PlayStation 2 emulator and I'm not paying 300 quid for them because they are even more expensive than the original. I think what I've got then is I've got a whole bunch of indie games and smaller games that have been dribbling out in intervening years. And what I just remembered when we were talking about Guitar Hero is a game called Retrograde. So retro/grade as it is written. It's basically, as I remember it, the story is you are, the last, as you are in every single shooter game ever made, the last defense against the enemies, and you go off and you fly into space and you defeat the bad guy, and it turns out that was all wrong and everything's gone to shit, and you have to undo everything you've done. So you play the entire game backwards from right to left, absorbing your fire by moving across lanes in the game in a rhythm action style. And you can play it with a Guitar Hero controller because it's split into 4 lanes. So basically they're color coded, so you can flip in between. I've never played it with a Guitar Hero controller, but it's a really cool game. It's a very, very clever idea, and it works. It's really good fun to play. It's quite hard, as I remember, but it's very, very good, and it's such a great idea. The whole sort of promo around of it was it's like unsave the world, like undefeat the bad guy and all that sort of thing. It's very cool. So
I like that.
I imagine it's absolute pennies on Steam now. I mean, everyone should give it a go if you get a chance. It's a very, very cool game.
Currently £6.99.
Oh, that seems quite expensive. I'm sure on a sale it'll be £2, same as everything else in the world.
Wishlist it, wait a month.
Yes, absolutely. Which is sad because it's an independent game, so maybe pay the money.
Yeah, give them £7.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
Check if you can get it from Itch first, and if you can buy it there, because he'll get more of it. Will get more of your £7. But anyway, we've had this rant before. Let's not do it all over again.
There was one I wanted to mention, which was a game that came out, I think, last year. Yeah, May the 14th, 2024. So it's about a year old.
Right.
It's called Robo Beat, and it's a rhythm action shoot 'em up, first person shoot 'em up.
You've recommended this to me before.
Yeah, it's well worth a play. There's a free demo on Steam, and it's very, very good, very polished, very stylized, beautiful looking. You shoot, and your bullets do more damage if you shoot in time with the music.
That's cool.
And it's very, very good.
Can I hook up my PlayStation 1 G-Con 45 and play it with that? Because that would be fucking awesome.
I tell you what, it looked really good in VR. I don't know if there even is a VR mode, but
Talking of, I think that's probably the most recent swell of love for rhythm action games, isn't it?
well, it lends itself very well to it. I mean, the big example is Beat Saber,
Yeah.
which is, for my money, the best virtual reality game I've ever played.
Ah, I wasn't a huge fan.
I hate the music. The vast majority of the music in the game is fucking dreadful, but the actual gameplay is unbeatable. I fucking loved it. The first time I put that on and started waving around a fucking lightsaber in times this music, I was like, oh yes, this is fucking brilliant. I love this.
When I was briefly reviewing games for a virtual reality website, a high 60 of reviews. Still going. I think that website's still great, guys, doing very objective reviews. Really, really good resource if you own a VR headset. I'm not on the payroll or anything, but I genuinely believe that. I played a few and reviewed a couple of like fitness and boxing games, and they all kind of have a very rhythm action vibe about them. It's all very much in that sort of, I think there was basically a boxing game with a bit of kneeing in the face as well, but it's all very much in time to the music, and as much as it's exercise, and that's the thing, the music's very important in those games, and they are basically rhythm action games.
Yeah, effectively.
Yeah.
There is a VR one that I didn't play but looks fucking great. It's called Ragnarok. It's pretty much a combination of Guitar Hero and Taiko Drum Master in VR with you're the drummer on a Viking longship.
Oh, wow.
Trust me, just go onto Steam, type in Ragnarok, and just look at the video that's on there. This looks really good fun.
Yeah, no, that does look the tits. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, I wish I still had my VR. Let's talk about Guitaru Man.
Okay, why don't you talk about Guitaru Man, and I'll just nod and say, yep.
That's what I thought.
Because I cannot remember it.
Can you not?
I think I downloaded it when I first got into PS2 emulation.
Yeah.
Sort of around 15 or so years ago. I do remember playing it, and I remember it being fun. I can't remember any of the details of the game at all, so you're on your own with this, mate.
It's had a bit of a revival. I think it definitely got a sort of re-release / sequel on the PlayStation Portable, and I think perhaps also on the digital distribution on a more recent PlayStation, possibly a PlayStation 4. So it's never been allowed to sort of die and disappear, even though it's never been particularly popular or mainstream or anything like that. It's just somebody somewhere clearly is sort of got a vested interest in it not going away. You can pick it up for the PlayStation 2 for, I'm looking on eBay now, about 25 quid. Crazy art style, not PaRappa the Rapper-ish, but very sort of scrappy anime style, somewhere in between like an anime and PaRappa the Rapper is the world of Guitaru Man. No idea what the story is, can't even remember but it's just fantastic. So the method of control for it is you have a line that you have to basically, with I think it's the left thumbstick, I haven't actually played it for a good long while, you basically have to point so you're facing the line with a cone, so you've got an area of, what's the word, variance. So if you imagine
like a cone of vision,
exactly that,
on the mini map in Metal Gear
Solid.
Solid.
So if you push your thumbstick to the right, your cone of vision faces to the right. So, and a line will come onto the screen, and you'll have to make sure that your cone of vision, the line is going into it. So as it moves around the screen, you basically have to follow it. And that's just, your general following the track of the music. And then in time with that, you have button presses which are almost always a press and hold rather than just a press. So with your left hand, you're following this line around the screen, and with your right hand, you're playing notes in tune to the music, which I think is all original. Again, tends to be Japanese, or certainly Japanese inspired, so it could be licensed and I wouldn't know. But magnificent music. Dave's watching a video, I can see on his face. Have you got the sound up, Dave?
I haven't, no.
Take a moment and turn the sound up. We can edit this silence out, it's fine.
Yeah, shit.
Don't talk nonsense. The music in this game is magnificent, and you feel like a god playing along to it. It's just, I absolutely adore this game. I think it is, as much as it's got a brilliant visual style, it comes together as a great game because of the great music and the great control method. I think it's interspersed with, I think because quite a lot of it is played out as battles, and so when you are fighting, the control method is as I just said, and you then defend, which is your all four buttons on the controller, with sort of attacking notes coming down from those four directions, and you have to sort of time to defend against them. Which, it's nice to have a bit of variety, but it's not the best point of the game for sure. The game is magnificent. It is magnificent, and I think the absolute nadir of rhythm action games.
Oh, good word.
Thank you.
These are the games that European or American people can't make.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nobody outside of Japan could make that game.
Oh, 100%. It's if you haven't played Guitar Man, as we were just discussing, emulation of the PS2, it's easy. It's not piracy because you can't give your money to PlayStation or to THQ or Koei in any way. So just emulate it and have the best time of your life. It's brilliant, and I stand by the best. I say I hope original, because I'm gonna say original. The best original music in a rhythm action game as well. I think it's magnificent. Can we give a little bit of focus on Buster Groove, because I adore Buster Groove. Do you know how there are games that you just love? And if someone was to ask you to explain why, you'd have to think about it for a little while. There are games that just sit in your memory as a thing that you love. I love Buster Groove. Mm-hmm. It's just joyous. It's just brilliant. It's rhythm action as a dance battle featuring women dressed as babies and aliens. And
I don't remember the women dressed as babies bit.
Do you not?
I remember the capoeira aliens.
Yeah.
And not much else. I haven't played that game in a very long time.
No. The graphics looked, at the time, it'd be hard for you to imagine now if you go and look at a video of it. They looked so far ahead of their time, because it was a sort of a constrained area, and obviously the animations are constrained to doing dances and things like that. The graphics looked like super smooth and polished and really almost like a higher definition than what we were used to having on the PlayStation at this point. It was just great, and just the brilliance of it. Rhythm action in the usual style, button presses coming across the screen, you pressing stuff to keep in time with. But I think the animations on the dancing was always like really good fun, and the little when you did the solo bit, and when it's the solo sections in these games had the master stroke of game design, where if you press the opposite to what the game was telling you to do. So if it asked you for a triangle, you pressed X. If it asked you for a circle, you pressed square. If it asked you for up, you pressed down. You did different moves and got a higher score.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And you were talking the other day about something you found out in a game on your own. I found that out about Buster Groove on my own. I think I must have just pressed the wrong thing and it didn't immediately fail or something like that. And I picked up that something was going on there, and I worked out this. So yeah, basically you just input the opposite to the instruction you were given, and you would score higher and do different fancier moves. And it's just such a great game. And when you're talking about how these games are joyful and fun and pure and all that, Buster Groove is probably, I think, about the line. It is a bit mad, but it's not completely mad, and it is joyful, but it's not at the fault of the game or anything like that. It's still very much quite a difficult, very good rhythm action game with original music again. So it does seem to be a theme for me. Although not all of the music is very, 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 very good. Very, 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 very good. Very.
One of the main points I remember about Buster Groove is that it's in some ways it's a little bit like a beat 'em up.
Yeah.
The input isn't just the buttons, it's D-pad movements as well, isn't it?
Yes.
So what you have to input looks like a fireball, so like a down, right, and then a button, but then obviously extrapolated to ridiculous levels. But no, I remember it fondly. I just haven't played it for so long, I can't remember it.
No, I think as I said, we definitely played a bit of 2-player. One of those games we played a bit 2-player, and then you went home and I got ridiculously good at it, so we never played again, I imagine.
Yeah. Unirally all over again.
Brilliant game. Buster Groove 2, every bit as good. Looks even nicer. More characters. Just 2 games, every bit as good as each other. I can't, as rhythm action games, I don't think they can be faulted. I really don't. I think you'd have to have a distaste for grown women dressed as babies, or men working in hamburger bars or something. I can't remember what they were. Oh, there was some censorship. I think in the Japanese version, one of the characters smoked, and I think they took that out for.
Oh God! Ridiculous.
To come back to PaRappa the Rapper, to before, because we're coming to the end. Is it? I mean, and it is. I've played it more in the last week than I ever did before. It hasn't ruined it for me. I want to make that very clear. I don't dislike now PaRappa the Rapper, having played it through to its basic finish, because basically so much changes with the cool mode and all that the story changes and all sorts. But to its basic finish, I played it last month, and it hasn't spoiled it for me. But I do not believe it's a good game. I believe it's an important game, and I believe it is a brilliant looking game. I don't think it's a good game anymore.
No, I played it through, like I said, I messaged you and I said, I've managed to finish it in like an hour.
Yeah.
And the main reason I managed to finish it, whereas I probably never did before, anywhere near that level of competency, is that I finally figured out when to press the fucking buttons. And it's not always in tune with the music.
No.
Which is what a good rhythm action game would do. So, yeah, it's got a lot of issues. It's not a polished game. It's not, I don't know. It's not the best example of what it does, but by virtue of being the first one to do it, I have to rate it highly and I have to recommend it to people to play. Even if you don't play it for long, just play it. Just revel in the fun and the madness of it, of having an onion as your kung fu master for no fucking reason whatsoever, other than, Rodney Greenblatt decided he was going to design an onion kung fu master. It's just there because it exists. It's that thing of climbing mountains. You should play PaRappa the Rapper because you haven't played it. There's no other reason, really. If you've never played it, you have to play it.
Yeah.
You don't need to play it for long. You don't need to finish it. You don't need to master it by any means. But it is a game that I think everybody should play.
Yeah.
1 in 20 people will think, fucking hell, this is great. I love this. And they'll play it a lot. And they'll play the second one. And they'll play Jamalami. And they'll have a look at Gitaru Man. And then eventually find Taiko Drum Master and never play any of that other shit.
But I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think with PaRappa the Rapper, it's like, yes, go and play PaRappa the Rapper. Now, if you want to buy an original copy, don't. Find the PlayStation magazine cover disc, which you'll probably be able to pick up for about £2. Play the demo. That's all you need.
Punch, kick, it's all in the mind.
Yeah. Then play Buster Groove. You know what I mean? And then. What cocktail did you choose for us today, Dave? To go with the brilliance and madness of PaRappa the Rapper.
As is tradition, I have 2. And I genuinely can't separate them.
Oh, okay.
They're both really, really, really good puns.
Might be terrible cocktails, but they're good puns.
Yeah. Well, okay, so my honourable mention is going to be this first one. And one of the things that we haven't really touched on is the visual style of PaRappa the Rapper. If you've never seen it, is two-dimensional, effectively paper animated characters that exist in a three-dimensional world. So when they turn sideways, you see that they're two-dimensional. It's very, very strange. It's part of why it's such a striking visual style.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been around for a long time, and it existed before PaRappa the Rapper. Yeah, so in 93, Rodney Greenblatt created some characters for a CD-ROM game called Dazzleoids.
Oh, crikey.
Which is what Matt Seward, the guy who started to make PaRappa the Rapper, when he started to design it in 94, used as the basis for the characters. And then eventually the two met up and carried on and evolved the project from there.
Oh, okay.
So there was, the concept already existed before this game, which is, I never knew that. I just always assumed that PaRappa the Rapper that's its style, that's where it came from, everything, that's it.
What was that on?
It says CD-ROM, so I'm going to guess PC.
I guess it has to be, doesn't it?
The style is this two-dimensional paper cutout characters that exist in a three-dimensional world. Kind of like early South Park, in a way.
Yeah, that's it.
So my honourable mention is a cocktail I found on Difford's called Paperboy. But boy spelt B-O-I.
Oh, nice.
In a rap style.
In a rap style. I mean, thankfully, I don't think either of us are particularly big fans of the game Paperboy, so there's no danger in you wasting this cocktail,
no.
is there?
I did think that. I thought, if we ever want to do Paperboy, and then I thought, I don't ever want to do Paperboy.
No.
I'm quite happy with this being my PaRappa the Rapper cocktail or honourable mention. But yeah, I thought Paperboy was great because PaRappa, his actual name, is derived from the Japanese for paper thin.
Is that right?
It's a pun. It's PaRappa, his actual name, is a pun on paper.
Dave, you have done some quality research for this episode, my friend.
Because it's a great game and it deserves it. And I was stood at a bus stop earlier and had Wikipedia.
That's the definition of research.
That is that's more than I normally put in.
Yeah.
But no, I genuinely wanted to know. I genuinely wanted to find out the history and where it came from, who designed it, how it came about. And there is some good stuff out there. I mean, Rodney Greenblatt is a fun name to say anyway.
It really is.
But you've only got to look at his Wikipedia page, and the first line of it is that he is an American artist, graphic designer, children's book author. Right, okay, fine. The second line of his Wikipedia page is he was previously the director of the Center for Advanced Whimsy. Now, I'm not Googling that. I don't want to know what that is, but I'm picturing some sort of weird cartoon-esque building in the middle of a really dull, normal, real-life city. That's like a magical place that you just go to and the cartoon characters that live there. I just love it. The Centre for Advanced Whimsy. I want that on my CV. I want to work for that place. But yeah, that really tickled me, and I really sort of got into the whole thing of where it came from and who he is and what he did and the designs and things that he came out with. Some beautiful, beautiful artwork, which obviously made up PaRappa the Rapper and other things, the sequels, and Jamalami designed all of it. And I found that really, really interesting. Not the sort of thing I would normally look up. Yeah, the Paperboy. It's not my cocktail of choice, but it's my honourable mention. It's bourbon Amaro, or Amaro, which is a Italian bitter liqueur, lemon juice, limoncello, and then Campari bitter liqueur. It's a shot of each.
Ooh.
Not sure I'd like it. It's basically whiskey and lemon again.
Yeah, Campari's quite strong, very dry flavour
Yeah.
as well. Campari, I'm not sure it'd be up your street. I might give it a shot. I don't have all the things.
No.
I don't have the Amaro, unfortunately. Otherwise, I could give that a go.
Yeah, I know this will surprise you, but I would try it. So yeah, that's my honourable mention. But my go-to cocktail for PaRappa the Rapper is the Underdog. Because PaRappa the Rapper is literally the underdog character. And I think part of the reason he's a dog is for that joke. Because he's the weedy kid. He's trying to impress the girl. There's this more impressive guy that she may or may not have a thing with, which is odd in itself. He's a giant chinned man, I think. And she's a sunflower. Don't ask. It's all a bit weird. But anyway, the Underdog is 20 ml of Drambuie or a similar herbal liqueur, 15 milliliters of Fernet Branca liqueur, 20 milliliters of dry vermouth, and then 15 ml of dry gin. So it's quite boozy, quite spirit forward. There's nothing in there to water anything down.
No.
I'm not sure I'd like it, but again, I'd give it a go.
I couldn't even estimate what that would taste like.
Not a clue.
No.
I think you'd quite like that.
Well, no.
I'd take a random shot in the dark and say that you would like that.
You could be right. It does sound quite, as you say, a bit spirit forward, and I do like that sort of thing.
I mean, it's served in an old-fashioned glass. I think it's basically a variation on an old-fashioned. It's garnished with lemon peel.
Not a good old bit of lemon peel. It doesn't sound particularly old-fashioned to me. I just think it does sound. I mean, I can't estimate because I don't know what Amaro tastes like, and I don't know what Fernet Branca bitters tastes like. So I'm a bit at a loss. But in true Dave fashion, I'd give it a go. Someone
Amaro was the other one.
Oh, okay. Sorry, what were the ingredients on this one?
This was Drambuie, Fernet Branca, dry vermouth, and gin.
Yeah, so Drambuie, I've never had in my life either. I don't know what that tastes like. I think that's why it was.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever had it. It's a honey herbal liqueur.
Yeah, I've seen it. I think I remember seeing it in like drinks cabinets all my life, and in my nan's drink cabinet. But I've never had it. I've never tried it, so I couldn't tell you what it tastes like. I would give it a go. Sounds all right, and it's a great name. You're right. He is your genuine underdog.
No history to it. No sort of provenance or anything. It's a community recipe on Difford's, contributed by Philippe de Costa Souza.
Oh, thanks, Philippe.
I think I signed him in Football Manager. I think he's a Chilean left winger.
The cocktail that I've chosen, I've embraced the honourable mention, but the cocktail that I've chosen is also a community recipe.
Yeah, I'm starting to find more of them now.
Yeah,
I'm using that search functionality in different ways to look for like ingredients or the names. You get a lot more hits back on names, words. Don't ever try to search for rap. You get 54 pages that contain everything that's got grape or grapefruit in it, which is a lot of fucking cocktails.
I was really disappointed that there wasn't a nice, obvious punch that would work, because obviously there's
kick punch.
There's dozens of punches on Difford's and other websites, but I couldn't find one that I could either make or was funny enough to go with. So yeah, and I worked my way through it. I tried kick, nothing. I tried punch, nothing. So I tried chop.
Oh, okay.
I got one result.
Right. What have you got?
My honourable mention is the drink that came up for chop. The word chop, which I can't unsee now. The name of this drink is called Psychopathia Sexualis.
Oh, love it. That's fantastic.
And yeah, so the word chop appears in the middle of the word psychopathia.
Yeah.
And it's completely hidden when you say it out loud. You see it written down. It's easier. But this cocktail is named after a book from... The cocktail came out in 1941. 1886, the book. The Psychopathy of Sex. Controversial German book that deals with the psychology of deviant sexual behaviour. You know, like a dog trying to fuck a sunflower. So the original 1941 recipe that appeared in Grosby Gage's Cocktail Guide and Ladies' Companion is one of these, like the Harry Craddock's book. It's like parts. So it's a quarter part gin, a quarter part sherry, a quarter part dry vermouth, a quarter part sweet vermouth, and then a dash of orange bitters. I have in one of my cocktail books downstairs, I've written out how much that means, but it's because it's equal parts. It doesn't really matter. You could put a pint of each of them in. It's still going to taste the same. Don't.
Yeah, it's a scaling thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as the ratio's right, it doesn't matter the quantity.
Yeah, you shake that over ice and shove it in our old friend the Nick and Nora glass. It's really, really nice. It's really nice. It's a very simple cocktail. Not a lot going on really, but the orange bitters really come through, and they pick out the other flavours of the vermouth and the sherry, and it's actually a very tasty, very spirit forward, very sort of grown up, serious cocktail, which is the reason I didn't pick it in the end. I love the name, I love the way I found it, but it's not quite there. Instead, I searched for something else that fits into, it's not kick, it's not punch, it's not chop. I searched for onion.
Oh no.
Oh yes. I found, by searching for onion, a couple of drinks which sounded disgusting. And also I found a drink, a discerning drinker, they call it, and differed the submitted recipes by people, basically, and it could be anything. Some of them are pretty disgusting, to be honest with you. You don't know what some people are thinking, really, when they put these drinks together. But this one's actually got quite a nice story to it. And I know this is tenuous, right? Because the whole reason that this is relevant is because of Chop Chop Master Onion. And that's about it. But it's a nice story. So the guy, what's his name? Karan Tandon. Over in India, and he said this is called the Indian Army Mess Gin Cocktail, and he said it's a standard cocktail served across army officers' messes across India. And he tells, go on to Difford's and look it up. Not you, Dave, the listener. I'm not going to try and read you this story. But it's quite sweet. It's about, this kid trying a bit of his dad's cocktail when he shouldn't have done. The drink is 60 ml of gin, 30 ml of lime cordial, a pinch of salt, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, top it up with soda water, and garnish it with a couple of cocktail onions. Into the glass they go. But I think most of the flavour that they impart into this cocktail comes from the pickling vinegar. So, and what is it? That sort of onioniness doesn't really come into it, thankfully, because I'm sure that would be vile.
I don't know. You get some nice Stilton on some crackers and go with it perfectly.
Have a bit of cheese. I mean, it's a highball glass drink. So I've had 4 today because it's bloody hot, and it's a perfect drink for it because it's ice. Fill a glass with ice and shake the drink, pour it over, and then top it up with the soda water. Really, really delicious. It's a very unusual tasting drink because the lime cordial is obviously sweet and limey, and then you've got salt and basically a slight vinegary undertone. It's quite a savoury cocktail, but with some sweetness as well. And it's got almost, because of the Angostura bitters and the citrus from the lime, it's almost got a grapefruit flavour to it as well. As I say, I've had 4 today. I'm quite a big fan. I think I shall be using that great new Difford's feature of being able to print out the page direct from their website and storing that down on my in my drinks cabinet for the summer, because it's a very drinkable but still sort of deceptively complex tasting drink. A huge fan. Yes, I found it because it's got onions in it, and the first boss character in PaRappa is an onion. Yes, that's tenuous, but it's a lovely drink, and it's bright and it's tasty and it's unusual, and it's one of these times when I found it for a very tenuous reason, but it fits for all sorts of other reasons as well. So that's what you're having. It's the rather simply named Indian Army Mess Gin Cocktail. I rated it a 4.5 out of 5 on Difford's because it's just that lovely. I don't drink highball cocktails very often, but
no.
But yeah, you want a highball glass full of ice in the summer, and I reckon you should look that up because you won't remember what I've just said. Not you, Dave, our hypothetical listener, and give it a shot. It does sound a bit weird, but so does a puppy romancing a sunflower. So does an onion teaching karate.
Or a moose teaching a puppy to drive.
Yes. So sometimes weird things are brilliant. Maybe onions is the secret to greatness.
Maybe.
Here, end of the lesson. Do we know what we're doing next week?
EA Hockey.
EA Hockey. Okay, we're talking quite a lot about NHL 94, was it?
Yeah, 94 is the main one.
Yeah, we talk about that and about hockey in general. Quite a lot about the film Swingers too. Bizarrely. Although not bizarrely, if you happen to know the film, you'll understand entirely why we were talking about the film Swingers. So EA Hockey is basically our quite tenuous Stanley Cup episode. The Stanley Cup will be sort of in full swing at the point you'll be listening to that. I reckon maybe 2 games in, but don't hold me to that. Really don't know.
Well, depending on how the series goes, it could be 1 in 4 games.
Yes. There you go.
So it's a best of 7, and if the Washington Capitals trounce it, then it could be over quite quick.
Which is, from what you were telling me earlier, Dave, the expectation.
Mm.
But we'll have that out in time for you to tenuously listen to us talk about ice hockey games whilst the Stanley Cup is on, and that'll be next time on Cocktail Mode, the podcast where gaming, like alcohol, is in our blood.